What's up, YouTube? Michael here. I guess we'll start this video as part one of the 68 Cougar. And John and I have decided we're going to start with the strut support brace up in the front and the battery box first. Just seems to be like the easiest way to start. Let the owner of the car see what we can do, make sure he likes how we work and everything, and go from there. But we're going to start by removing this rod, and as you can see, it's bent versus that one. And this bracket here is bent and it's peeled down. So we have this one to work off of as far as the angles of like that little tab versus this one. So we'll get this rod out of here, a couple of bolts, cotter pins. Probably not going to be able to get this nut off. If not, I'll just cut it here, and then we'll go around and we'll find the spot welds, which this actually looks like it's been welded by somebody else with a MIG. So we'll have to find all the welds and get it separated off of the body, and we can get it cleaned up and get the new one mocked into place. And then after that, we'll figure out what we're going to do about this battery tray. Alright, we got the strut rod brace removed. I just drilled out the spot welds and used the air hammer with a chisel. That way we didn't actually have to go into the body of the car. We never even drilled a hole in the body. And then that's where it'll go here. We painted underneath everything, got it all cleaned up, and just drew a line around the outside where we're going to weld it, a perimeter weld. The same thing back here. We were only able to get it so straight across here because it's boxed in, but it's pretty good considering it hit something. But so we'll get that cleaned up where we put the paint mark, and that's where we'll weld it. Alright, so we got the strut support brace installed and welded in, and we went ahead and tackled the battery tray area that was rotted out. And everything else on the car had pretty good metal, so we just cut out the bad and then took the new panel and cut it out and welded it in place as well. So that's the battery tray. That's the strut support brace. We got the new strut support rod in, it's not bent. And we got the owner here, Paul, and he wants to tell a little story about how this car is a one of one. It's actually pretty interesting, so I'll let him take it from here.
Okay, it's a 1968 Cougar XR7. It's a fully documented Cougar from a Marty report, and all the documentation from the original owner out of New Jersey all the way to the second owner and the third owner. We have copies of every title, how it transferred from New Jersey, when it was made. It was actually, this car is actually produced behind schedule by Ford, and it's all documented. And this is actually a one of one. Everybody looks for a one of one car, but one of one can mean it has an emblem that's not on any other car. It's a certain color. So the question is what makes this car one of one? And sometimes it's actually kind of comical what makes it one of one. It's the windshield. This tinted windshield makes this a one of one per the Marty report and all the documentation. This is the only one in 1968 that was produced with the tinted windshield. It's a smoked in windshield. So when we're doing all this work on the car, if we crack the windshield, we just screwed up. But it isn't documented, and because what you see right here, it has no engine, it has no transmission. It is an automatic car with a console ordered from the factory. It is a 302 two-valve car. It is a factory air-conditioned ordered car, but it's a manual brakes. It has manual brakes, which was kind of odd. You get a luxury car, but you have manual brakes with drums up front. So it's kind of odd, and it has all the chrome was still in place. This is the original factory paint. This is Augusta green. The original interior is all taken out and sitting at the house in the garage. So This car was all original when we got it. It was sitting in some guy's garage, and I used to watch it for 4 years. And then one day he just pushed it out. And I swooped in and said, hey, what's going on with the car? He said, I'm going to go ahead and sell it. And I said, let's make a deal. And so this is how I got this nice, lovely POS. And they're Cougars. They're basically a Mustang. So the all guys that like Mustangs, this is basically a Mustang with a little more fluff, a little more treats. But you can make it just as badass as the next Mustang, because everything on the Mustang will slip right underneath there. The original motor, date-coded motor, the original transmission is all sitting at my house in my garage, ready to get redone and put back in. But we've decided to do this. Yes, this is a factory car, and it's all these numbers, but that's not. I'm not restoring this car. I don't want to go that route. I want to make it a me car, and so we're gonna keep it at manual brakes, so we don't have to deal with any of this power booster failure or brake fade from that. We're going to strip and make the hideaway headlights mechanical versus vacuum to get rid of all that vacuum line. Air conditioning may or may not go back into the car, but if it does, it's going to be a vintage air system, so it's lighter, smaller. And instead of having all the issues with, do I stay with the original C4, do I get a C6, do I do this, we're just going to throw us a 4-speed in this car, so we don't even have all them problems. No cooler problems. And rear end, we're not there yet. And what we're going to do to the motor, we don't know that yet. So we're still in the creation phase of where we're going to be with this car. But what we're trying to do now is fix some of these rust issues. Like this rear quarter right here is probably the worst of it. This torque box right here is not the best either. And we got all these pieces. And we'll let you know, because you guys buy a lot of these parts come from National Parts Depot and around the United States. Some of these parts are good, some of these parts need a little tweaking. So we'll let you know which ones are good or not so good. And nothing against National Parts Depot, because a Cougar is a hard thing to get parts for, and they have it. So you just got to make it work. And that's it in a nutshell. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? Well, we're gonna go ahead and figure out a good spot to start on the floorboards in there, and I guess we'll take it from there. Alright, we got the first section of the floor pan cut, fitted in, welded in. We just got one more area on the driver's side. It's back there, so we'll do the same with it. Get it cut and fitted in place. And so that'll do it for today, and I'll make this part 1 of the 68 Cougar videos series. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notifications when I drop new videos for parts 2 and 3 and so on. And like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Shoo! What's that? Shoo! Old John.